Nostalgia can be considered many things. Some say it is misleading, a sort of illusion of the mind to romanticize our past. Yet others would argue that it is one of, if not the, most powerful emotions we as human beings can feel. That we should cherish and preserve that feeling so we never forget the good things in life. However, if I were to choose something to describe nostalgia as, I would say it's interesting. Now, while I may be young by most people's standards, I think I've observed enough of the pop culture, and more specifically nerd culture, to see certain trends. One of those being nostalgia, and how it plays such a big part in our entertainment. For the most part, the trend seems to be that nostalgia is, at its height, 20 to 30 years after the fact, and that's when a resurgence of interest comes to the brand. I know that sounds very public relations media talk to most people, but the point is, if you look at any of the entertainment industries, you'll see a lot of nostalgia's influence in full effect. Whether it be pop stars doing covers of old songs or old cartoons being turned into huge blockbuster films, nostalgia's influence is undeniable. So when we entered the decade of the 2010s, it was unsurprising that we've suddenly got people clamoring for stuff from the 1990s. Now, I've seen lots of people discussing the 90s and nostalgia in general online, and the people throwing around the my childhood related memes as well. So I've decided I'm going to jump the gun a bit, though some people won't think so, and do a historical review series about one of the most prominent pieces of nerd culture from the 90s, Toonami. So why Toonami? For that matter, what is Toonami? Well, Toonami is an action cartoon block that started airing on Cartoon Network in 1997, and was probably most notable for helping the anime boom out of the rut of terrible straight-to-video movies that had been releasing for years. It introduced a whole generation, well, probably more, to anime, but personally, it represents the marriage of both anime and Western animation to open our eyes to new worlds and possibilities. It tried to expand our minds and have us think about things we never would have thought of at that age. I know that sounds like I'm falling for the romanticized nostalgia I was talking about earlier, but don't get me wrong. There were plenty of bad shows on there as well. And really, that's kind of the point of the series, is to look at these shows and tell people if it still holds up, or to warn them to not waste their time. Okay, now that we have that done, let's go over the ground rules for this series, which are subject to change as I feel necessary and will make sure to inform my viewers of such changes when they are made. My mission and statement shall be as follows. I will watch every show and movie aired on American Toonami. I will not cover the foreign programming nor its streaming services. Even narrowing it down that much still leaves me with too much stuff to reasonably review, so for some shows I will be skipping episodes. I mean, do I really have to watch 100% of Frankenstein Jr. to understand the quality of the show? And when I do skip episodes, I will inform you of how many and which ones I skipped. My goal with these reviews is to analyze the content aired and the block itself for why people love or hate them so much, and bring a certain amount of truth to people's nostalgia. My reviews shall be somewhat unorthodox. I will do 2 reviews for each show and movie, the first being a short non-spoiler review that gets straight to the point. Some shows and movies will only get short reviews when there's not that much to talk about. The second will be a longer spoiler-filled review where I go over the show's history/trivia, its significance on Toonami, and analyzing its characters, themes, and ideas. Please keep in mind that while some shows may be adaptations or English translations of foreign media, these reviews will not necessarily be compare and contrast exercises. Also, I will not always be able to update frequently, so please be patient with this series. Thanks for watching, and next episode I will be covering pre-Toonami Cartoon Network history.
Sweet. Well, time to start the show.